Picture yourself in a hospital. What do you see? Long clinical corridors, signage, people hurrying past you, that obnoxious overhead fluorescent lighting. What do you hear? Equipment alarm bells, call bells, overhead announcements and pages, doors banging open and shut. Picture the nurses. What do they look like? What do they sound like when they talk to you? Maybe you picture a traditional image of a nurse. White cap, white uniform, white stockings, white shoes. Maybe you picture something like this. Sexy Halloween costume nurse. A lot of people very committed to that idea. Maybe you picture a contemporary image of a nurse. Young woman in scrubs, smiling as she embodies all of society's stereotypes and expectations. In reality, the nurse that you're likely to encounter looks something like myself, a white woman in her 40s. Every few years, the National Council of State Boards of Nursing gathers statistics on the US nursing workforce, and the latest available data tells us this. There are currently 3.8 million nurses in the United States. 92% of them are female. Average age is 48, and 78% of them are Caucasian. And that's a problem, because the demographics of our workforce in no way mirror the demographics of the population they take care of. Now, you might say to me, but surely every nurse is supposed to take care of every patient. And you're correct, and they do. But it's been shown that when the nursing workforce more closely mirrors the population that it cares for, there are tangibly improved patient outcomes. Patients are much more likely to discuss the meaning of health and illness with their patient, with their nurse. They're much more likely to follow through on discharge instructions, to take their medication, to attend their follow-up appointments. They're much more likely to ask questions, or maybe even question the care plan that they're being told that they must follow. And they're much more likely to express overall that they're satisfied with their health care. And so diversifying the nursing workforce has been seen as a priority. Prominent nursing organizations such as the American Nursing Association and the National League for Nursing have embraced this as a goal. It's been seen as a priority and a challenge for nursing schools of education and for nursing workforce places, institutions that hire nurses. It's something that we strive for. But have you ever considered how you're going to feel if the nurse that approaches you no longer matches your stereotypes and expectations? When I first moved to the United States in 2002, I lived in Phoenix in Arizona for 10 years. And when I went to work, I looked the part. I looked what people were expecting. But as soon as I opened my mouth, it's very clear, I'm not from here. And I would generally be met with two reactions. The first group, and the most common reaction, people would greet me with interest, with curiosity. They would ask, where was I from? How would I come to be in the United States? What did I enjoy about living here? What did I miss from home? But the second group would greet me with an air of suspicion, sense that I was somehow not the real deal and they should be cautious. I distinctly remember one man saying to me, why do you talk like that? And when I explained to him that it's because I'm from Australia and I still have my accent, his response was, well, you live and work in America now. You should sound like an American. And I remember thinking, what does that mean? Does he want me to sound like I'm from New York, from Chicago? Maybe I should work on like that lilting kind of southern accent, like I'm from Georgia. What if the next patient wants a different one, though? So what I settled on doing eventually was just softening my own accent, smoothing out those rough edges, and accepting the fact that I may have to repeat myself from time to time. But back to my first group, the group that had initially met me with enthusiasm. As the conversation progressed, it would come to a point where the penny would drop, and they would say something like this. But I mean, like, you went to nursing school here, right? Like you studied in the US. And I'd be like, no, actually, I completed my nursing education in Australia, and then I came here a few years later. And I know that what they're picturing is some tiny, dusty, outback Australian town with no hope of modern healthcare or modern education. And they imagine me hiking through the outback, and I'm wrestling crocodiles and snakes and spiders with one hand, and I'm applying leeches to the patient's chest with the other. I'm coming to America, and I'm bringing my bush nursing skills with me. And what I wanted to say to all of my patients in these moments of their doubt and discomfort was, it's okay, I got this. Relax, it's fine. Because you can be sure that any nurse working in the United States today has gone through rigorous education and training, regardless of where it took place, and that they have passed a challenging national licensure exam before they are even offered a job. You can be certain that they come to you with the needed knowledge and skills and expertise and the desire to care for you. So what I am asking each one of us to do is to open our mind, to broaden our perspective on who it is that can be a nurse, to look beyond mere stereotypes and expectations and demographics. How are you going to choose to react if your nurse is wearing a hijab or a turban or has a bindi on their forehead? How are you going to choose to react when the nurse taking care of your sick child is a man? Not because he is somehow less masculine or couldn't hack it in medical school, but rather because he recognized nursing as the challenging and rewarding profession that it is and chose to pursue it just like his female colleagues did. How are you going to respond when, upon seeing the beautiful engagement ring on your nurse's finger and asking her about her wedding plans, she tells you about the woman she's going to marry, not the man? Are you going to allow your own personal feelings for tattoos or piercings or certain hairstyles to colour your judgment of your nurse's professionalism? When your nurse talks with you and they have an accent, are you going to see that as a sign that maybe they're bilingual or maybe even trilingual and see that as a gift? Our world is changing. Our population is changing. Our workforce is changing. When each one of us chooses to embrace the nursing professional and recognize their knowledge, their skills, their experience, to see them as an individual and welcome them just the way they are, that's hospitality. Thank you for listening.